Well, people, we are back. Match reaction. Man City 3, Leeds United 2. And very much a tale of two halves, which we're going to get into in this match reaction. It just makes you think, if we had done the second half in so many of these other games besides Man City, where would we be? We'll never know. I guess we'll never know. But look, obviously, there's some things that weren't good, but there were some things to take away for future games. But will we do it from the start, or will it be reactionary again? We'll get into it in this game and get your thoughts as well. Listen, people, like the video. It's free to do, helps out the channel. Oh, and thank you to Parrot House for the super sticker. Big up to you. And thank you to Russ and Mr. P for the super thanks on the last video. Yeah. A brave nil points. Yeah, I've put a little poll up in the chat. And that's because it's fresh off this 3-2 loss. And because there was good things in there, I want to see the temperature of how people are feeling. And I will give you my thoughts when we close the poll as well, or probably through the video as well. Hyru with the super chat here. Thank you, Hyru. Who'd have thought playing three at the back, we'd actually look good? Good old Farke holding the team back. Why it took this long is infuriating. Well, yeah. Like I say, it was a tale of two halves, wasn't it? It really was. Ultimately, though, people, we've got no points, and that is 6 losses out of 7, 6 in 7. So it's one of those now where not only are us fans going to take away plus points from this, if Daniel Farke, well, he will still be here. He's going to take plus points from this going forward. And God knows what kind of he's going to be saying when he goes, in front of for press conferences and everything else, man. Like, we almost got a point at Man City. I can already hear it now, but there were some encouraging signs, more so in the second half. We'll talk about the first half as well, but that could have been like really brutal in that first half. They were double figures in shots by the end of 45 minutes. You can't do that in the Premier League. That's how you will get spanked. But there was a mixture of both for me in the second half. We got better because of the change in formation and the two up top. And also, I thought Man City started to get comfortable. I think they thought they were going to stroll this, maybe go 5-6-0. Because of the way the first half went. But it just shows you, man, if you just show a little bit of grit, a bit of character, when you know you don't have the better players, you can upset these kind of teams. You can. But it was like halftime too late. It was halftime too late, I'm afraid, people. It just goes to show the thing with Daniel Farke over and over again is that he's too reactive and not proactive. Now, I'm not saying today, by the way, if we started 3 at the back, we would have won the game. I'm not saying that at all. But you have, I feel you may have had a different outcome besides conceding in the first minute. I think we'd have been more compact. You saw in the second half, our strikers and midfield and everything else was connecting much better. But look, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. AFV saying here, Farke, I'm proud of my lads, blah, blah, blah. Russ in the house here, and shout out to you, Russ. Even if we had won or draw today, it wouldn't have changed my thoughts. Farke has to go. It's another game lost and 0 points. And that's ultimately the thing, isn't it? We've got no points again. And, it's going to be hard, especially when you've come back in the game to get it to 2-2. It's going to be hard for the players probably to pick themselves up. I'm sure some will come out with some plus points with this. But again, it's another defeat, isn't it? And listen, we was out the bottom 3 for about 10, maybe 15 minutes. But yeah, it's one of those where I'll get the table up in a bit as well. Leeds here saying we look like the old Leeds for 20 minutes in the second half, but Farke still needs to go. Baller saying here 6 losses in 7. I don't care what he changed, he's got to go. Too little, too late from Jack as well. Mike saying here, Farke out. A good manager would do way better with these players. Well, this is my thing as well. And regardless of the poll, I will get the poll result up at the end. But that's where I'm going with this. You just don't know what you might get with a fresh impetus from a new manager who may recognize from the start to play 2 up front. Because I just feel going forward, is Farke going to start the game fresh, 0-0, and go with 2 strikers up front? I just don't see it. I think because we were behind 2-0, he figured, you know what, man, this is a Hail Mary. Let me change some things up and see what we can get from it. But from a 0-0 standpoint, I don't see it because we've seen it over and over again. The reason why I say this is because we've seen this over and over again when we've been 2-1 down, and all of a sudden we see 4 attackers on the pitch instead of from the start in games where they are more winnable, where we could possibly go with 2 up front. And I just don't see him doing it just because of what he saw today in the second half. Another 3 goals conceded. Yep, I hear it. It's not about performances, it's about getting points on the board. Farke should have gone 4 games ago. Yep. Radaby leads here. If Farke goes, who do we realistically get in? I mean, that's for the board to decide, isn't it? Realistically is a whole different conversation of who you'd want to get in. There are candidates out there, just not Big Ange, please. No, just no. I don't want to go from one extreme to the other. That's the thing as well, man. You can't just go from a Daniel Farke to a Big Ange. That's like the Forest going from Nuno to Big Ange. You just can't do that. You've got to have a happy medium. And the thing is, as well, that's just like saying just take the first thing that's available. I don't think we should do that. Yeah, we'll talk about the goals now. We'll talk about the goals in this. So, and just quickly for a couple of the results so far. Burnley lost as well. They I think they were 1-0 up. No. They got back to 1-1, and then Brentford got the lead straight away. Sunderland were 2-0 down to Bournemouth at home and come back to win 3-2. And obviously we've lost our game. So that puts Sunderland up into fourth, which again defies the whole Danny Farke thing about newly promoted sides, because he keeps forgetting Sunderland are about. And that just keeps us in the bottom three. So we have not moved or anything like that. We remain in the bottom three, along with Burnley and, of course, along with Wolves. The starting lineup, people, before we get into the goals, just the starting lineup today. Look at that. Good side. Good team. Good team. I just want to say, in terms of this, I think I saw a stat out there and quote, and correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, it was a good goal. Good goal. That we didn't play. I think I want to say 10 of our signings from the summer. I may be going over the top with that number, but there's quite a few of our summer signings that weren't played today. And I guess if you just go through the team, we had Bogle last year, we had Roden, Strout, Ampadu, Tanaka, Gruev, James, Nonto. Yeah, we started with 8 players from the championship, which again tells you a whole story about just how poor overall the recruitment was. Now, I know we've got a couple of injuries, and I think James Justin is another one that's now injured. But the fact that we've played 8 players from the championship in a game against Man City tells you another story. In terms of this, though, I felt the setup was wrong. I did like the changes, but what I will say, and I'm gonna keep this open. Let me just say this: I'm gonna keep this open just in case he doesn't say it. But I feel like this was a lot like Mateo Joseph against Chelsea in the FA Cup, where there's been a big clamour for Joseph to play, and then all of a sudden he turns up in the FA Cup against Chelsea. Now that game he got 2 goals, very good for Joseph. But I feel like this was another game where he's changed it up. He's took Aronson out the firing line. He's made a couple of changes just to say, well, look, see, I tried it, it didn't work, and then he goes back to type next week. Now I'm going to leave that open in case he, let's say, in the cool down, when we go through his post-match comments and his press conference next week, he says, people will say something and Aronson wasn't playing, so he wasn't there to blame. I'm not going to say that, like, he won't be that specific, but I'm waiting to see if he says anything along those lines. Mr. P with a super chat. Thank you, Mr. P. So 3-5-2 can work, as can play Nonto and James from the start. A better performance from Leeds, which is the very least we should expect. Well, I'm going to ask you, because there's a few of these comments coming through today about, well, it's better than we expected, but ultimately for me there's no points. But what I will say is that a plus point for people? And you don't have to just put it in the comments now, put it in the comments after the video's done. Does that give you hope for the future, in future games, that maybe we can get out the bottom 3? Let me know. But yes, thank you for that, Mr. P. Right, so proud of our players. Yeah. Yeah, we were not good in the first half. Yeah. Let's talk about it. Let's give it. Let's get into it. It was a mollywhopping in the first half. Let's be real. It was bad in the first half, and it could have been any scoreline. It could have been anything. And listen, we need someone, whether it's us or somebody else, to get rid of this stat for the season. Premier League tweeting this out: the fastest goal of the season so far, courtesy of Phil Foden on 59 seconds. Yes, can someone else get one quicker than that, please, so we don't have that record for the year? I'd appreciate that. But it was one of those where it was all disjointed. Man City were on top for the full half. It was the longest half. I feel like it was the longest half that we've had so far. In fact, I've said that 3 times this season, so maybe it wasn't. But yeah, Phil Foden with the first goal again on the left hand side, and it's different personnel this time. It's no Okafor, there's no Goodmanson. We'll talk about Goodmanson for the third goal, but it was a completely different left side. So, and it's just funny because Farke did say in the press conference, didn't he, that he was working on things for the left hand side, and literally within a minute we concede on that side. But yeah, it's one of those. Justin overall, just to say, I know he went off injured. A good couple of blocks in the first half, but yeah, you know what? He's just a standard Premier League left back. He's probably a championship left and right back. Let's be real. In terms of that, Guardiola, yeah, 2-0. What I will say, I know people are saying Perry was weak on that, and in modern day football, maybe he was. But offside and a foul possibly on the second one. But again, it's fine. But all I would say, and I'm trying not to sound like that fan, but I don't think if Tanaka was underneath Donnarumma and it was the same scenario for us, I don't feel we get that goal at that end. But I'm trying not to sound like that fan. But you know, there's always kind of like a big six bias, isn't there? There is. You know, there's no denying that. But you work through that. And then obviously the second half comes. The second half comes. We make we make a few changes. James and Nanto comes off. I did look at that and think, well, it's a bit harsh because I felt James was probably one of our best outlets as well in the first half when we did actually get on the attack. But the change in formation was lovely to see. Two up front, Metra and Calvert-Lewin both getting goals today as well. And I just felt that the whole thing was more connected. And that's the main thing for me. We've been talking about that's a point as well. There's got to be someone. I forgot to finish my point on that one. Yeah, someone's got to be with Perry on the line there. He can't be by himself with whoever it was, Bernardo Silva, in terms of that. But yeah, there's a lot of things that could have been better on that second goal. But in terms of the connectivity with the team in the second half, much better. Obviously, there was points where Man City were on top and looking dangerous as they would be. I think Perry made some good saves to keep us in the game. But it was a lot better, and it just made me think when I was watching it. I just couldn't. I was like, why couldn't we see this in games against Burnley? I wasn't even thinking about this match when I was watching it. I was thinking, imagine if we had gone 3-5-2, 5-3-2. You know how it goes. It's a mix of both, depending where the wing backs are. You know, why couldn't we see this in other matches that were way more winnable? Who knows how they would have turned out? No one knows now. It's all gone. But if we had seen this earlier, what if? You know, too many times we got free headers. Yeah, we'll speak about the third goal in a minute. Andy here saying the frustrating thing is we revert back to normal the next game, even though Farke is now seeing how better that second half was. Yeah, I mean, look, there's also the thing as well where we looked good in the first half against West Ham, and he didn't like that for some reason. He said it was too wild. So it does make you think, does he appreciate the second half performance? We'll wait and see what he says. Obviously, we'll cover it in the cool down tomorrow. But yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how he saw that second half going. Hyru saying I would have taken a 4-1-3-2 formation. Ryder should have been booked for diving. But yeah, in terms of Calvert-Lewin, obviously 4 minutes on the pitch, scrappy goal, but that's how we're going to get him, people. We're not going to do, you know, a tick-attack of football in the Premier League with these players. It's not going to happen. It's about being in the right place at the right time, and that's what DCL was. You know, big props to Gruev and Tanaka for helping the move on. But even then, I felt Man City were playing so casually against us. I think they were taking the mick a little, and that kind of had to wake them up and say, oh, maybe we're not going to get an easy ride today. Because I felt like they were in cruise control. They could have cleared that ball at least 3 times before it even got back to Calvert-Lewin. So, you know, wake-up call for them, and good on DCL for getting on the score sheet eventually, you know, again at some point. Don't leave it so long for the next one. Obviously, Mecha, I mean, what Guardiola was doing, I know Big Six get biases, but if that wasn't given as a penalty, then we would have to open a full investigation on the Premier League. Don't know what Guardiola was doing on DCL there, just absolutely wiped him out. Mecha obviously gets his penalty save, but the good follow-up from him and another goal for Mecha. So, you know, big up to him, credit where it's due. He's keeping his place in the team as long as he can stay fit. And you just go from there 2-2. Man City then we're reverting to Donnarumma going down, having to get sideline, you know, tactics, you know, updates and instructions from Pep. And you're thinking, well, maybe we can hang on for a point. Maybe we could do that. But obviously then the third goal goes in. And as good and this is the thing for me, as good as it was up until 2-2, how Foden had that much space in the penalty area is criminal, people. That can't happen. Now, good strike and props to Guardiola. Don't know if anyone saw it, but Guardiola jumped as Foden was shooting because he knew what was coming, which obviously opened up the lane even more past Perry. But to give Foden that much space in the box, he probably won't get an easier goal. He probably won't get an easier one. So yeah, it's one of those where it's a sucker punch, and a point would have been so invaluable. I think it would have taken us out the bottom three. Yeah, it would have taken us out the bottom three for now. But yeah, it's one of those where we've come away with no points, and again, that's 6 defeats in 7. That's the ultimate fact of what's happened after the game. Erlen here saying Tanaka was our man of the match. Yeah, I mean, a little bit sloppy on the third goal, but again, I thought overall, if you're talking out midfielders before he came off, Tanaka was the best of the bunch again. So he keeps his place for me. I think that goes without saying, especially with the injuries that we've got at the minute. But yeah, and just another note on the third goal. Goodmanson again. It's one of these things where he's just too passive. I feel at this level. Going forward, Goodmanson is really good. He's good to watch. But again, if you look at the third goal, go back and look at how many goals we conceded on the left-hand side when he's been on the pitch. It's the same thing. He doesn't get stuck in. He doesn't get tight. He just like marks in front with like a 2-3 yard gap, and always gives that person the pass that passes it into the box the opportunity to get the ball free in. And it happened again. That's him again. And when you listen to him talk in the week about the problems on the left-hand side, and also the fact he was taken out today and still come on and was one of the culprits for that goal, it doesn't look promising from a defensive point of view. And if you go back to the video when we signed him, I did say this about Goodmanson. I said he's been in a front-footed team in League One, which is good for him. But what is he going to be like when he's in the team where we're going to have to defend most of the time? And he's been found wanting a few times now defensively on that left-hand side, a few times. So yeah, I mean, he was so far off him. He was so far off him, and he's got to be tighter. At least make it harder for him to get the ball across. And that is something he's got to work on. And he kind of showed a little arrogance in the week for me when he was speaking about it not really being on him. I would like a little bit more accountability from him when it's been clear as day. The left-hand side has been a problem. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see, man. Yeah, Ampadu saying here, man of the match for him. Tanaka was sloppy and out muscled too often. Yeah, okay. Okay, John, why are you giving like updates? Why are you copy and pasting BBC Sport like notes? What's going on here, John? What are you doing? The match is over. Let's go. So yeah, give me some more of your thoughts on the game then. Cloud Dizzle here. I don't know why YouTube is shortening everyone's names into the usernames. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. Honestly, it's like he's a robot in the chat. 90 minutes. This is what happened. Like, come on, man. Oh man. Yeah, any comments from Farke we'll cover tomorrow in the cool down, of course. Sheza here, 2 up top seems to be our strength going forward. It should have been done before. Let's see if we see it from the next game. By the way, with the loss today, while we're in the chat now, does anyone think that Farke's job is under threat still? Because there was a few of you that saying, regardless of what happens today, especially if we lose, that Farke will be sacked. I highly doubt it, especially with it being a fighting effort. I mean, if we got a point, we may have given him an extension. At this football club, I would not put it past them. Let's be real. But do you think that Farke's job is under threat? I personally don't. And if you don't get to answer now, put it in the comments after, of course. Sorry, Farke out, even if it's another loss. Andy here saying it was never under threat, unfortunately. That's where I am, Andy. I don't think it's been under threat. Yeah, Bogle did well. Yeah, that's another thing. Bogle, gotta give him props. He did well with Doku today, although in the first half, Doku, I feel like he didn't lose the ball that much. But yeah, Bogle marshaled him well. But it's very telling, isn't it, that the ball isn't going over to our right-hand side. It keeps coming to our left. That's not just by happenstance. That is through coaching and realizing where the weak spots are in this Leeds team. And they've identified it's the left-hand side. I hope his job is under threat. It will be Marshall all over again. Daddy just saying here that performance is going to keep him until the new year. Like it's like Liverpool under Marsh, except we didn't even get a point. Proud of my lad. Shut the hell up. Yeah, Chow. Meanwhile, Sunderland have won again. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're killing it, man. But yeah, I overrated their summer window, according to some. But yes, old git in the house. What's going on, old git? We lost the game in the first half. Yeah, we did. We did. Yeah, fresh. Yeah, just I honestly do. I think even if I think we might get relegated because of the quality overall in the team over a 38 game season, just a new idea with a change in formation and everything else like that. Different ideas, maybe letting the handbrake off some of our better players, our more creative players. Because I mean, even with that, with James and Nonto coming off, if Brendan Aronson had been an outlet like Dan James had been in the first half, Brendan Aronson's not coming off. He's not. And that's the problem that I've got with him. I think there's just certain players that he's always going to have an easier time taking off than others where he just leaves it. Sometimes they don't even come off, do they? But yeah. Sunderland have got twice as many points as us. Yeah, they probably do. Andy here saying here, amazing how 3 at the back in pre-season. We look comfortable and it's taken 13 games to try it in the league and we look much better than we have recently. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Yeah, another one saying here, game was lost in the first half. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else, people. I think I've pretty much covered it. I don't think there's anything else. Let me just get the poll, end the poll. Fresh reaction: should Farke stay? Okay, all right. I'll give you credit. I give you credit. You haven't let a good second half cloud your judgment. Yeah, that's really cool. All right, so you got yes, 11%, no, 67%, and yes, if you realize his 5-3-2 is it at 22%. Yeah, I think people know what's coming. I guess that's the community I've created. That's the community that I attract. So you guys get the long-term picture rather than short-term sugar rushes. So fair enough, fair enough. But yeah, we'll leave it there for the match reaction, people. Look, it's another loss. A valiant effort, but we've still lost that 6 in 7, leaves us in the bottom 3 still. What next? We'll be back tomorrow with the cool down with Danny Farker's comments and everything else to see what he thinks of the game. But until then, people, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I mean, if you're a Fortnite player, there's a season ending in a couple of hours. We got Survivor Series later. There's a lot of stuff to look up to. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to. But yeah, listen, people, I'll see you in the next one. Like the video before you go as well, people. It's free to do. Peace out.